The camera pans to a quiet man in a wrinkled suit sitting at the edge of a grand wedding ballroom, his little daughter asleep on his lap. Laughter, champagne, and music surround him, but he looks like he belongs to another world. No one knows his story, and he prefers it that way, until a woman in a white gown grabs his hand and says, "Dance with me," changing everything. But what led to this moment, and why she picked him, will leave you speechless by the end. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, comment, share with someone who needs hope today. Subscribe our channel Kindness Talks for more real-life inspired emotional stories. Derek Wilson never liked weddings. He always found them too loud, too crowded, and far too painful. Yet here he was, standing awkwardly near the chocolate fountain at a wedding reception he wasn't even technically invited to. His cousin, the groom, had extended the invitation out of obligation, not affection. Still, Derek had come, for the sake of his daughter. Emily, his 6-year-old, sat on a white folding chair beside him, her small feet swinging, her eyes lighting up every time someone passed in a shiny dress. Her frilly blue dress, the one she'd picked from a thrift store after saving her pocket change, made her look like a tiny fairy. It was the first time in a long while she seemed excited. That alone had made the uncomfortable suit and the long train ride worth it. The room was grand. Chandeliers glimmered like stars trapped in crystal. Laughter echoed off marble floors. Young people danced while photographers chased smiles. Derek sat alone, nursing a glass of water, hoping no one would talk to him. It wasn't shame, he had done nothing wrong, but the weight of everything he had endured left him too tired to explain his story to strangers. He was 35, a widower, and had been raising Emily alone since his wife, Claire, passed away 3 years ago. Claire had been everything to him, his anchor, his joy, his reason. When cancer took her, it left a crater no one could see but he carried everywhere. Since then, life had been about survival, school lunches, lost jobs, hospital bills, sleeping on couches. There hadn't been space for dancing or laughter. There was barely space for hope. At the wedding, Derek kept glancing at the exit. He planned to leave once Emily got tired. She deserved to have fun, see the world outside their struggles. He didn't. He was just the background in someone else's happy day. But fate was already watching. From the other end of the ballroom, a woman in a sleek ivory gown was watching him. Her name was Vanessa Bloom, maid of honor, the bride's best friend, and a woman with her own quiet storms. She'd noticed him the moment he walked in, not because he was handsome, though he was in a rugged, understated way, but because he looked like he didn't belong yet carried himself with quiet dignity. Like a man who'd weathered too much and asked for too little. As Vanessa moved around greeting guests and fixing the bride's veil for photos, her eyes kept returning to Derek. He wasn't mingling. He wasn't smiling. But he was gentle. She saw him wipe chocolate off his daughter's nose with a napkin, whisper a joke, and make her giggle. That moment, tender, unforced, struck her like lightning. Later in the evening, the DJ called everyone to the floor for the couple's dance. As the newlyweds swayed, Vanessa walked across the room slowly, deliberately. Her hands shook slightly. She didn't know exactly why she was doing this, only that she had to. Her heels clicked against the floor as she passed tables full of laughter, full of sparkle, and came to stand before the quiet man in the wrinkled suit. He looked up, startled, his eyes wary. Vanessa smiled and extended her hand. "Dance with me," she said softly. He blinked. I'm not really part of this." She nodded. "I know. That's why." Before he could speak again, her hand closed around his. Something in the way she looked at him, a sadness, a strength, made him stand. Emily stirred in her chair and smiled drowsily as she watched her dad being pulled onto the dance floor by the pretty woman in white. And as the music played, as Derek took one hesitant step, then another, something shifted, not just in his body, but deep in his soul. But neither he nor Vanessa knew then that this dance was just the beginning of something that would change both their lives, forever. The first few steps were awkward. Derek wasn't a dancer. Claire used to drag him onto the floor, and he'd move like a scared tree. But Vanessa guided him gently, almost like a partner leading a student. Her hand was warm, steady. She said nothing, letting the music speak. People around them noticed. Whispers began. Who is she dancing with? Isn't that the single dad? She never dances with strangers. But Vanessa didn't care. And slowly, neither did Derek. As they moved together, she leaned in and whispered, "You don't have to talk. Just breathe." He chuckled nervously. "That I can do." They danced through one song, then another. Each beat chipped away at the walls he'd built around his heart. Her presence didn't demand answers or pity. It gave space. For the first time in years, Derek felt like someone saw him, not as a tragic man, not as a struggling dad, but simply as a human being. When the song ended, she didn't let go. Instead, she asked if he wanted to step outside. He nodded, still dazed. Outside, under a canopy of stars, they sat on a stone bench near the garden. Fireflies blinked in the dark, and a gentle breeze rustled the trees. Vanessa broke the silence first. "I lost someone too," she said. "My fiancé. 2 years ago. Car crash. We were supposed to be married in this very hall." Derek turned to her, surprised. She smiled softly. "It's strange, right? We move around the world acting like we're okay. But sometimes, we're just waiting for someone to ask how we really are." He looked away, his eyes stinging. "It's been lonely." "I know," she whispered. They sat for what felt like hours, sharing stories not even their closest friends had heard. She spoke of sleepless nights and missed birthdays. He talked about Emily, the bills, and the nights he cried where no one could hear. That night, 2 broken hearts found a strange kind of peace. Over the next few weeks, they exchanged messages, then calls, then coffee dates, always with Emily happily third-wheeling. Vanessa brought laughter back into their home. Derek showed her the beauty of resilience. Emily began calling her Ness. It wasn't instant. Healing never is. But love doesn't need a grand gesture. Sometimes, it begins with a quiet dance on a loud night. 1 year later, at another wedding, this time much smaller, much warmer, Vanessa walked down the aisle in a dress of soft lavender. Emily scattered flower petals in front of her, grinning. Derek stood at the altar, tears in his eyes. As Vanessa reached him, he whispered, "You saved me that night." She smiled. "No. You just finally let someone hold your hand." And as they kissed, Emily clapped the loudest, whispering, "Told you she was a fairy." Sometimes the most unexpected moments, an invitation you didn't ask for, a dance you didn't plan, lead to the greatest chapters of your life. Don't underestimate the power of kindness, or the courage it takes to hold someone's hand again. Because love doesn't always shout. Sometimes, it simply whispers, "Dance with me."